Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm 25 and I am a mental health advocate. I also own my own business called Aspire to Inspire. I just wanted to do a little content warning that I'll be sharing my personal story of lived experience of mental ill health. It shouldn't be too heavy, but I just did want to give a content warning that I'll be speaking about anxiety, depression, feelings of abandonment, not belonging, yeah, that should be it. But I just really wanted to make sure I did that content warning. I remember turning 18, and this day for most people is a really special day. It's a day of excitement and almost adulthood for a lot of people. But for me, it was almost surreal because most of my teenage years, I didn't actually think I was going to make it to age 18. I was, most of my teenage years, just trying to survive the next 24 hours. When I was 14 was when I first started getting professional help. I remember my friends and my teachers were concerned about me and they reached out to my mum. Obviously, at the time I wasn't very happy about this, but looking back on it, I am very, very grateful for my friends and for my teachers looking out for me. I went through psychologists, psychiatrists, multiple therapies, and multiple medications for many years. For me personally, at the time, that wasn't the right help for me. Obviously, it's very different for everyone, and medication might help some people and others it doesn't. Same with different therapies, and it's all about finding what works for you and not giving up. For me, I expected to see the first psychologist or doctor and they would fix everything and I would suddenly be better. But that's not how it works, or at least how it worked for me. I remember growing up and constantly having this feeling of what's wrong with me? I don't belong. I didn't know who I was. I felt lost. After growing up, I was taught that certain emotions were okay and others weren't. And this led me to suppress a lot of my emotions, like sadness and anger, until they would build up and kind of explode out, usually in the form of me having screaming at my mum or me crying. As a child and a teenager, I was known for being very sensitive, very emotional, and not being sad a lot of the time. I remember on countless occasions people asking, "Why are you sad?" And I would say, "I don't know." Tears going down my cheeks. Or people would say, "Why don't you just be happy?" Now, obviously, that probably wasn't the best thing to say to me, but I don't hold that against them because most people, they're trying to do their best and they're coming from a good place. They just don't have the tools that usually therapists have and what I needed. I managed to finish year 12 in high school because I felt like that was what I had to do. Year 12 wasn't very good for my mental health, and I really, really struggled. But I finished, and that did feel like an achievement, which was nice because a lot of the time I didn't feel like I was achieving much. After year 12, I decided to study mental health, and I got my certificate 4 in mental health and certificate 4 in alcohol and other drugs, both of which were very interesting. I learned an awful lot. It was also quite triggering though for me because I hadn't dealt with the issues that I'd been holding on to for so long. That same year, I was physically assaulted by someone that I trusted. And that was when anxiety decided to kick in, or anxiety did kick in. I managed to finish my course. After that, though, I wasn't able to be in a room with people. I wasn't able to see my friends. I wasn't even able to leave the house on my own. My mum became my carer. The psychologist was trying more and more different medications and different therapies to try and help, but nothing was working. I was getting more and more sick. It's getting harder to even just get out of bed, even just to remember to drink water, to do the things that people consider simple. I didn't enjoy the things that I used to enjoy. Nothing gave me a sense of happiness. I felt completely disconnected from the world and even from myself. I didn't feel safe, even in my own home. I was so scared. I remember at one point feeling really, really proud of myself because I was able to see a friend for half an hour outside of my home in a public space. My mum could pick me up and drop me off. And I did that once a month. And that one time, once a month, would just completely exhaust me. Because the whole time I was on alert to see, is this person going to hurt me? Am I acting the right way? Are there people around me? Is the world closing in? I was so scared. I think it was maybe 4 years ago now that I decided the current psychiatrist I was seeing, it wasn't working. The therapies I was trying weren't helping, and the medications he was trialing me on wasn't working. So I did my research and I chose another psychiatrist in the area. And within the first few meetings of her, I started to improve. She challenged me more than any psychiatrist or psychologist ever have, and I'm so grateful for that. She referred me on to a life coach, and this life coach helped me find myself again. She helped me find a sense of being loved, sense of belonging, sense of meaning and purpose. She completely helped me completely change my life. I ended up also working out other things that helped me support my mental health. This includes exercise, which helped me massively with my depression and still helps me keep depression at bay. I now do yoga regularly. I practice mindfulness, gratitude. I have my wellness recipe. I know what I need to do to keep myself healthy, to give myself a sense of belonging, a sense of contribution, a sense of meaning and purpose. I worked out that there wasn't anything wrong with me. There isn't. There never was. That I was just a really hurt child. I felt abandoned. And I needed to heal that. I needed to work on that. I needed to look at that. And I needed a lot of therapy and a lot of help. And that's okay. I now know that all emotions are okay, even the ones that feel really, really crappy. That there's nothing wrong with me if I'm feeling sadness or if I'm feeling anger. There's a reason for that. And I've learned now through lots of therapy of how to process them, how to be okay with them. I remember thinking, I can't wait until I get better. I can't wait until I never experience depression or anxiety again. But that's not exactly what happened. Some days I feel anxious. I get anxiety when I'm about to see a friend or when I'm about to go into a crowd. But I now know there's a reason for it. And I have learnt to see it as a messenger. I have tools to help me at the time manage that anxiety. And I know what I need to do before I go and see that friend or go to the crowded place, and what I need to do after to look after myself. I have a whole toolkit of tools to look after myself if I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. I haven't had a panic attack in maybe a year now, but I know how to manage it. I know that it might come up sometimes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. And depression. Depression comes up sometimes, but I see it now as a reminder that I need to take more time out for myself, reminder that I need to do something that day that gives me a sense of feeling loved. Do I need to go and spend more time with my mum? Do I need a hug from her? Do I need to connect to the parts of me when I was younger? Do I need to do some colouring? Often, the reason that I am feeling depressed or the depression comes up is because I'm feeling disconnected from myself. I still regularly see my psych. She is part of my well-being. And I think it's really important for people to work out what helps them. What is the right plan for them? What is the right treatment for them? Because no two people are the same. I think the biggest difference now is I know I'm loved. I love myself, and I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I know that I belong here. I know that I am enough. And I know that that can never be taken away from me. Something might happen and I might feel like that is gone, but it's always here, still inside me. It always was. If you ever feel like there's something wrong with you, or that you're not loved, or that you don't belong, or that you're not enough, I want to tell you that I don't know your story. I don't know what you're going through. But I do know, and I believe this with all of my heart, that every single person is loved. You're born filled with love. That you belong here, and that you are enough. And you are worthy of your biggest, wildest dreams. And no, nothing can change that. No one can take that away. It can feel like it's taken, but it never truly is. You were born filled with love, belonging, and enoughness, and that never can be taken away. Ever. I now am studying at uni. I can be in crowds. I volunteer with multiple mental health organizations. I have been involved with Headspace. I have stood in front of people and done speaking. And that just blows my mind because I remember about 4 years ago now, having a panic attack in front of my class of maybe 15 people and crying because I was filled with fear and anxiety. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you've been through, but I do believe that there is hope for every single person, even when you can't see it yourself. I've been there. I've been there so much and so many times, and yet here I am. It still astounds me how far I have come. I cannot say how much it means to me that I never gave up hope. And that's why I wrote myself a letter. I wrote myself a letter about how much I don't want her to give up, how much I love her, and how much I am proud of her. So that if I ever feel suicidal again, I can read that letter. I highly encourage you to do the same. The healing journey for me will never stop. It's a constant process of relearning and understanding myself and learning about myself at a deeper level. I now aspire to inspire others, for them to see their own light, for them to find hope and to seek out help if they're struggling. There is nothing more brave than seeking support when you're struggling. And I honestly believe that. Apart from what I've already said that I do, I also run my own small business, Aspire to Inspire, which I really love and gives me such a meaning of sense of contribution and connection to others. Through this, I do mindset coaching and help you to really discover what you truly want in your life. I feel like often going through teenage years and into adulthood, it's really hard to work out what we want. And often I feel like we live lives that we feel society wants us to live, or that our family wants us to live. And it's so important to be able to discover what you truly want and to live that, regardless of what society wants. And I'm living proof of that. My name is Nicole, and this is my story. Thank you for listening. If you're struggling, please seek help. There is Lifeline, Beyond Blue, Headspace, and other services available.